Hurricanes and the Fighting Irish back centering storm in signature style with the smoke and the pyrotechnics.
The life of a college athlete. An experience filled with all the fame, recognition, and triumph anyone could ever need in an entire lifetime. Though not all college athletes succeed, their lives are a non-stop party, whether on the field or, more notably, off of it. As you watch these athletes, praising or criticizing their performance, fans on campus and at home forget something. These are students. The NCAA has taken pride in establishing these collegiate players as students first, stressing the importance of academics over all else.
If you have the talent and dedication to succeed in school and in sports, we'll provide the opportunity.
The NCAA has instated numerous regulations, schedules, such as the one for Division I football, and guidelines to ensure academic success for these athletes. It is no secret that college sports are a commitment, but the universities and NCAA have done everything they can to allow these athletes to easily balance their respective sports and school. Or have they? For many athletes, such as Dorian Thompson-Robinson, a D1 UCLA quarterback, their day starts at the crack of dawn and will not end until deep into the night, spending a majority of that time focusing on lifting, practice, and film rather than education. These first-hand accounts can be found all over social media, yet get overlooked by fans due to the NCAA's own depiction of their free, money-making labor force. This cash cow has been milked for many years, gaining increasing pressure by figures and organizations such as ESPN's First Take, Business Insider, and numerous coaches and ex-players. As long as the money rolls in, the NCAA will not change its model. So what does the real life of a student-athlete actually look like? What is the NCAA doing to these college kids under the radar? According to accounts by D1 athletes in various sports programs, such as Rutendo Chimbaru and David Fletcher, their lives were constant battles with stress and time management. Packed schedules like these were the norm for D1 athletes, leaving little to no free time for anything, let alone their studies. According to Chimbaru, practice somehow took up most of each day, despite NCAA's regulations that technically state it only lasts 2 hours. Not only that, but NCSA's head recruiter, Coach Zach Willis, was quoted saying, "You have to go in with the attitude that your sport is paying for your education and it is a job. At the end of the day, it is even more than a full-time job." Many student athletes could not afford this type of commitment, as the NCAA claims in the media, they are students first. Rather than being able to make money and pay for their own living and the living of their families, a usual main contributing factor to the aim for these athletic scholarships, student athletes were consumed by the sport. In one instance, UConn starting guard Shabazz Napier opened up about going to bed starving during the season due to being broke. Payment of student athletes has always been debated, yet the NCAA has turned heads away from certain arguments for the issue. Money aside, maybe you have heard of success stories of NCAA athletes in the classroom, but what you've never heard was the stories of failure, those who could not cope with the pressures placed upon them.
And you have to forget everything that happened in your day, because at practice, you have to perform. You can't not perform. There's someone better than you, someone competing with you, and someone in high school who just committed to be you. So forget the 0 on your assignment. Forget the test you're not prepared for. Forget the friends you haven't seen in weeks. Forget the argument you've been in with your parent. Play well, pass well, perform. And when it's finally over, you find yourself staring in the locker room mirror, trying not to cry. And you ask yourself, is this how I'm supposed to feel?
It's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm practicing the national anthem for when I win the Olympics. I wanted to show that I was tough and that I had everything under control. I felt more anxiety, and what I did was I just pushed it down. Then it spiraled into the bulimia. You think that maybe if you're a little bit lighter in the water, you'll be a little bit faster. I wasn't sleeping at all. You can hide it very, very well. I think that's the scary part with mental health.
Callie Fahey, Victoria Garrick, and Shabazz Napier may have been strong enough, but many student athletes battling crisis, especially mental health, were not. In a study of the NCAA over the last 10 years, 477 athletes have taken their lives, suicide representing 7.3% of athlete mortality. Students like Madison Holleran of UPenn and Costa Karageorge of OSU both succumbed to their battles in 2014, demonstrating the need for furthered awareness. A study conducted by Daniel Apke statistically concluded that internal challenges directly correlated to academic and athletic performance. As seen through all of these examples, and despite the disparities between men's and women's athletics, both male and female college athletes have been impacted by these immense pressures. For instance, across all demographics, 86% of college athletes are living below the poverty line. Whether internal or external, the student athletes have the odds stacked against them. The only failures of athletes you ever hear about in sports are related to what the scoreboard says, and the NCAA has unethically cultivated the argument in this way. By keeping the focus on the game and not the players, unless exposing players for off-the-field wrongdoings, they've been able to manipulate our perception of college athletes. They may have the stage for a couple of hours on the weekends, and that is all the NCAA wants you to see. What is happening backstage has not just been pushed into the shadows, but completely ignored from any type of media presence.